thinking what I ought to do. I often wonder what it was that I had done to you. Why don't you tell me why it hurts so bad? Why don't you tell me why you're not sad?
Broadcasting on an old Walkman from the abandoned Long John Silver's behind the abandoned Pizza Hut on Center Avenue in Bay City, Michigan. It's Everything, Anything, and Nothing Really, with your hosts Eric Walensky and Matthew Maynard. Hello, folks. Good evening. I am Eric.
I am Matt.
And good evening to you, Matt.
Good evening, Eric.
How's it going?
Well, it's been pretty productive. I've only watched 20 movies today.
I myself am in the movie watching business lately.
In the movie watching business.
Yes.
So you're like Leonard Maltin or something. You're like...
Yes, except I'm not getting paid.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah. But no, I'm in the same boat as you. Lots of at-home time, lots of time to just watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm finding is I'm watching movies I've watched dozens of times, and I'm finding a lot of problems with them.
Yeah, what kind of problems? Is it because Steve Guttenberg is not in them? Is that...
Yes. Why isn't Steve Guttenberg in this? No, I'm just seeing things like, well, for example, the other night, The Natural was on.
I love that movie.
Yeah, me too. It's a great movie.
Great cast.
Yeah, great cast. Robert Redford, of course, the baseball player who, the young kid, and gets sidetracked because of a mishap with a woman who ends up shooting him, and he disappears, and then he shows up as an older man, and he gets into baseball and kind of helps the New York Knights make it to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Great movie, great story, but here's my issue with it. The ending. He steps to the plate, 2 outs, 2 runners on, down by 2. Home run wins the game. And you and I both know he hits that home run. Where does that ball go, Matt?
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. Where does it go?
That ball goes into the lights
that's
in
right.
center
That's
field.
Right.
And it explodes because the baseball hits it.
That's right.
Yes, and all the sparks come down, and it's amazing. And the movie, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun,
Right, yes.
dun-dun-dun. Here's my problem, Matt. I understand that the one light that he hit explodes. Why did every other light in the ballpark start exploding?
Well, it's, you know how it is. It's like years ago when you'd be putting the Christmas lights together, and if one didn't light up, they all didn't light up. They were probably Christmas lights up there.
So this movie is set somewhere in, like, what, the 30s or 40s?
I think about 1939. Is that right? I think that's about...
So is that how stadium lights were wired to explode when one explodes? Like, I've seen that scene a million times, and I'm always like, wow, that's so cool. And then I was watching it the other day and was like, wait a minute. Why is everything exploding?
They were all so excited.
That's dangerous. The New York Knights, they need to, like, start paying their electricians more. Weren't there codes back then? I guess not.
And the other thing, too, you know how few stadiums had lights in 1939?
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of them.
Not a lot.
And not very many night games. Uh-huh.
Well, now we know why, because they're dangerous.
That's right.
I'm picturing just some guy like, well, what'd you say? You want some lights up there? Yeah, sure, I put some lights up there.
Just don't have a ball hit him. That's all I ask. Don't have a ball hit him. You'll be fine.
A lot of baseball's going to be flying around up here?
Because then the game's over. You can see the guy who, they probably rented the lights from a guy, and as soon as that happens, he's like, okay, all right, I'm taking my lights and getting out of here.
So it's things like that I'm seeing in movies that I've seen a million times, and now I'm starting to see some problems.
Yeah, I guess there are movies like that. I've thought of a few movies like that myself over time. Like, do you remember the movie The Parent Trap?
Oh yeah, Haley Mills and Haley Mills.
Right. The whole premise of that is a problem. And the two twins separated at birth. One parent took one and the other parent took the other. And they don't know about each other. And then they find each other at summer camp. It's disturbing. And
it's very disturbing because here's so they do that because they're twins, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, we each get one because they look the same. What if they would have just been siblings? What if they were brother-sister? Would that have made a difference?
Right.
They were real lucky that twins came along right on the verge of divorce.
What judge said this was okay, you know? Like, yeah, it's okay. You take one, you take the other. Don't tell anybody that you've got the other twin. Don't let the other twin know that there is another twin.
Weirdest case on Judge Judy ever.
And then I looked up a little bit about it. It was based upon a 1949 German book, Das Doppelte Lottchen, which means Lottie and Lisa.
Leave it to the Germans.
So, the first film version of this was done in 1950 in Germany, a film called Two Times Latte.
Yeah, see, I think it's even creepier in German.
So, yeah, I mean, just the whole idea that you would keep who your father or mother was and that they had a sibling secret from a child. That just so
right
strange to me. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess to each his own. There are probably people listening to this like, I did that with my kids, but, you know.
To each his own. Hey, I'm not judging or nothing. I'm just saying, you want to split twins like that, that's your business.
Right. And then the whole idea is the twins take it upon themselves to get the parents back together, which has screwed up every child of divorced parents for decades.
Yeah.
And that is not a good idea.
No.
So, yeah, it's a problem. That whole movie, everything about it is problematic.
See, here's the thing. The Parent Trap movies always made me nervous around twins.
Really?
Because they're always getting into shenanigans.
Oh, that's true.
I didn't know if I was going to get involved in it and accidentally talk to the wrong twin and say the wrong thing, and then comedy would ensue. That was scary.
Or even cousins that looked alike. I watched a lot of the Patty Duke Show.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Identical cousins.
Yeah.
What was that show called in Germany?
It was called Das Cousins Identicale.
Yeah, Parent Trap's a classic. Another classic was on the other day was E.T.
Mm-hmm.
You remember E.T., of course.
I do remember it.
It's a great little story about a cute little alien, comes down from space, gets befriended by a young boy. They go on adventures. There's some shenanigans. And then the little alien gets on his spaceship and goes home. The end. Except, what happened to Elliot? This whole adventure goes on. And I'm sitting here wondering, how did he deal with this? Once the alien was gone. If you remember, midway through the movie, he becomes psychically linked with the alien. And everything that E.T. sees and experiences, Elliot sees and experiences. There's one part in the movie where E.T. is watching a soap opera, and there's a real steamy love scene comes on. Meanwhile, Elliot is in school and all of a sudden starts getting turned on and has his first kiss with the girl while they're dissecting the frogs. At another point, E.T. dies and Elliot brings E.T. back to life with the power of his love.
Yeah, that's going to be a real problem for him when somebody else in his life dies.
Exactly. And how does he explain all this to his college girlfriend?
Right.
That he doesn't feel comfortable making out with her unless there's an alien in the next room watching pornography? I just feel like there's so much left on the table with that. Like, Elliot had to be messed up for the rest of his life.
Yeah. And as an older person, you can imagine as he gets old and he tells his grandkids, like, when I was a boy, there was this being from another planet? And the grandkids are like, yeah, Grandpa, yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. I brought it back to life with the power of love. Oh, geez, Grandpa.
But it does sound like there is a lot that was unaddressed in that film.
I feel like it. Speaking of science fiction and space, too, another movie came on the other day, The Empire Strikes Back.
Hmm.
Star Wars, of course. One of my favorite films, probably my favorite Star Wars film there is. And I used to think of it as like the perfect movie. Like everything is covered. But I found a plot hole, and I kind of think it's a big one. At the end of the movie, after Han Solo is frozen and taken away by Boba Fett, Princess Leia, Lando, Chewie, they're trying to escape, and they want to get to the Millennium Falcon, and they manage to fight their way past all the stormtroopers, and they get on the spaceship and they take off. Meanwhile, Darth Vader turns to one of his commanders and says, "Did your men deactivate the hyperdrive on the Millennium Falcon?" The guy says, "Yeah." He says, "Good." They had access to the only means of escape, and all they really did was make it go a little slower. That's like if you came to my house, Matt, and all I did was remove a spark plug out of your car.
Which you have done before.
But I still give you the keys, let you get in it, and go on
Right.
your way.
And then I get down the road and I'm like, "Dad, Eric." And then I pull out a Mentos package and smile and shake my head.
The way that scene should have been was, did your men completely and utterly destroy the Millennium Falcon with as much firepower as you had? Yes, good. Then that means they're stranded. Thank you. But instead, it's like, did you give them a spaceship and let them fly into space, but it's going to go really slow? Anyway, I love the movie, but I got a little problem with that.
Well, I mean, it's not as perfect as the Star Wars Holiday Special, which has no plot holes whatsoever.
No, nothing is as perfect as that.
See, honestly, that's my favorite Star Wars film. I only watch the ones with Art Carney and Beatrice Arthur.
They did a 25th anniversary article about that in a Star Wars magazine. They reached out to anybody who was still alive to ask them their memories about it, and Harvey Korman had passed away when this article came out, but they did call Harvey's agent just to ask him and say, did Harvey have any memories or any fond stories about working on that project? And his agent says, "Harvey was in Star Wars?" That kills me. Even his agent forgot.
His agent is probably figuring, I probably have a lot of money coming to me. I didn't remember him doing that, but gosh, it seemed like that was a pretty successful film.
Yeah.
Well, keeping on the sort of topic of sci-fi, Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah.
There's
That's a good
certain
one.
things in that one that bother me. Mainly, well, one big thing, and because I'm kind of a television buff, and I know a lot about old television shows, and when Marty McFly gets into the living room there, it is, well, I guess it'd be his grandparents in 1955, and now we can watch Jackie Gleason while we eat, and so they're watching The Honeymooners. They're watching Jackie Gleason on The Honeymooners, and it's an episode. This is supposed to be November 5th, 1955, and the episode they're watching did not air until December 31st, 1955. So,
Whoa.
so apparently Marty's arrival in 1955 even screwed up Jackie Gleason.
Yeah.
So,
He goofed up.
CBS, yes. Yeah, so that was a big one to me. That destroyed my whole suspension of disbelief for that one.
That's a good catch, though. That really is. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that on any kind of Back to the Future article about continuity there.
And I guess I understand the reason they did that, maybe because, the episode they show it's a costume party and Ralph is going as the man from space, so maybe they figure this is some kind of theme with the movie. Because if they would have shown the actual episode that aired November 5th, 1955, it's Norton being a sleepwalker. Which
And it doesn't play in as well.
No, I mean, artistically, I can see why they did it, but
And see, then they could have set this movie in January, but then it would have been 1956, and time traveling to 1956 doesn't have as good of a ring to it as going back to 1955.
yeah, I suppose. Especially if you were coming from 1985, like we're gonna go 29 years into the future.
Exactly.
You want a good round number, you know?
29 years? That's oddly specific. Yeah, it's this discount time machine.
29 years and 8 months, but who's counting? But yeah, another thing that bothers me is so Marty shows up in his father's bedroom in 1955, tells him he's Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it just occurs to me, 22 years later, his father probably would have seen Star Wars and been like, wait, Darth Vader, that's the guy who showed up in my bedroom in 1955. Wait a minute. And he probably had some weird flashback and some post-traumatic stress. I mean, that had to screw up similar to the way that, you were talking about
Yes.
the boy in E.T. getting hit. The dad must have had some kind of screwed up thing from that. I mean, going around his whole life thinking, yeah, somebody could just show up in my bedroom in the middle of the night from another planet and say they were going to...
Melt my brain.
That was it. Exactly. I knew you'd know the line better than I would.
Yeah, that had to have left a mark. And,
Right.
and you would have thought, like, even if he would have managed to suppress that as soon as he's sitting in a movie theater in 1977 and that comes on and it's like, Darth Vader, Darth Vader. Oh my gosh.
I know, and we see him in 1985 and and he's all successful and happy and whatever. But no, there had to be some dark side to George McFly there.
Oh, for sure. Like, that guy had to be popping pills, man. That'd be
Yeah.
terrifying.
So yeah, that always bothered me. Also, of course, the mother, gets into Marty's underwear and thinks his name is Calvin Klein. So years later, when she actually sees Calvin Klein products, did that ring a bell with her?
Right. I saw pink underwear in 1955. That guy that I named my kid after.
Right. And did they ever, I mean, as he got older, like, man, he reminds us so much of that one guy we knew for a few days in 1955.
Right. That had to have made some impression.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, then Marty's antics meant nothing.
Right. And it was pretty life-changing, you would think,
It was dramatic. And that's even the name of the book that George McFly wrote, is A Match Made in Space.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember at the end when he gets his book, when Biff brings in the books and he gives them to him, the cover is basically a kind of a drawing of what Marty looked like in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So if it left that big of an impression, like he didn't think once? Wait a minute, Darth Vader. That's the name of the guy that hooked me up with Lorraine. Why would
Exactly.
a space alien care if I married her?
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody had to put two and two together, and then, like, didn't he have to tell Lorraine about that, like, sometime during their marriage? Like, eventually? Like, hey, I've never told you, but, I mean, now that we're married, and I know you love me, and you're not going anywhere, I don't have to worry too much about freaking you out with this one, but an alien said he was going to melt my brain if I didn't ask you to that dance. Really? Wow. Well, considering you saved me from a near sexual assault, I'll let that go. I'll let that go.
Yeah, I mean that whole plot has been problematic for me for a long time.
Yeah.
And another thing that always bothered me in the Muppet movie,
Yes.
actually all Muppet related things.
Everything Muppet.
Everything Muppet. I love the Muppets, but I was a pretty literal kid and I grew up in farm country, so I'd seen a lot of pigs and a lot of frogs.
Uh-huh.
And just the idea of them being romantically involved, it didn't work. Even as a child, I'm like, I would see the neighbors' pigs in their pen and like, oh, if a frog would get in there, ooh, it's gonna get pretty crazy.
That just didn't sit well with you, huh?
Well, I don't know. I don't think pigs are that interested in frogs. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe I just don't know about these things, but it just doesn't seem like. And I tried to find a story about some pigs dating a frog, but I couldn't find anything. I did, however, find a news story about. Well, the headline says, "Lean but not mean. Authorities closing in on pig that so far has avoided butcher."
Oh, this is like the old nursery rhyme.
Right. So,
This little pig went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little pig was on the lamb.
right. So yeah, the story it's actually from a while back, but it's one of the ones in our files of we just haven't got around to this yet. A woman from Midland, Michigan said that she and her husband were on the way to a doctor's appointment, figured they'd drop off their pig at the butcher during the same trip. On the way, another motorist let them know the pig, which was being hauled in a horse trailer with high doors, was trying to escape. Never in this world did we ever think a pig could climb those doors. But climb those high doors is exactly what the pig did when they pulled over on M20.
So wait, so they're on their way to the doctor, and they're like, "Hey, why don't we take that pig to the butcher while we're going?"
hmm
Yeah, okay, let's run some errands.
Right. Let's go get an animal slaughtered as long as we're out.
So yeah, they're taking the pig to the butcher, weighed between 400 and 450 pounds, and was intended as a meal for a wedding.
So, and then she also notes the animal was gentle and was raised around children. Well, now I'm glad it escaped.
Yeah, right? They humanized this thing.
Right. I'm not feeling sorry for this couple for losing their pig now.
No.
That's a smart pig.
Yeah, don't make me care for this thing now.
Right. So,
Again, this is the journalism around here. The journalist had to have asked, "Did you love the pig?" Well, yeah, he's great around children. He's so nice. He's playful. I loved him. He's great, and we were gonna eat it.
was it gentle? Yes, very gentle. Hopefully we'll catch her, she said, adding her biggest worry is it will go in the road and cause an accident.
Yeah, the thing that gets me too is that a motorist tried to warn them that the pig was escaping from the back of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm picturing, like, they're speeding down the highway, and the car is pulling up alongside of it, like, going, "The pig is escaping!" And they're, like, just waving and nodding, like, "Oh, hi. No,
Yeah, how
the
would you-
pig! The pig's climbing the door! What?
Yeah, how would you get their attention and let them know that, you know?
Meanwhile, the pig's in the trailer going, "Shut up! Mind your business!"
I need to find me a frog. The first call to the Midland County Sheriff's Office about the animal was dialed about 1:30 p.m. Tuesday. By 9 p.m., a deputy contacted Animal Control to pass along information that the pig had been caught and was tied up in the yard of a home in the area of M20 and Meridian Road. When the Animal Control deputy arrived on Wednesday morning, he found the pig had chewed its way free.
This pig's name was Houdini.
No, he's not that gentle. He gets through all kinds of stuff.
He's incredible.
The pig was still loose overnight Wednesday. On Thursday morning, the sheriff's office reported the pig remains. Oh, the pig remains
No,
on run. I thought they were saying there were pig remains. No, but they're saying he remains on the run. Boy, that changed the entire meaning of that sentence.
It totally does. The sheriff's
Then-
office reported the pig remains were delicious.
And the next line kills me. The pig is just one among many other reports of loose creatures across the county this week.
And that's where the article ends. It's like, dun dun dun. Yeah, the pig is just one among many other ones. Good luck out there. But yeah, so this pig is amazing. It climbed the trailer doors, got loose, got caught again, got tied up, chewed its way out, is avoiding the police. The article ends with no resolution until the next day. The article says, sad ending to loose pig story.
Because
it doesn't even tease you. It tells you right away, don't read this story unless you want to hear some bad news.
have you guys been rooting for that pig? Well, sorry.
So the article starts off recapping what happened. It's a sad ending to the story of a pig that escaped from a horse trailer while traveling down M20 earlier this week. And it gives the weight of the pig 450 pounds. They were on the way to the doctor, decided to go to the butcher. It was going to be for the wedding. They go in again. They say how gentle and nice this pig was. They rehumanize this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So another area resident had helped corral the pig by allowing the horse trailer to be parked in the yard. The trailer was full of food and showed signs of the pig rooting around overnight Wednesday. So this pig apparently had come back to the trailer that they had parked where they had spotted it, and there were signs that he was there. But by Thursday night, the person who had caught it was able to hand feed the pig, which she described as acting calm. There's two ways you can read that sentence. She described it as acting calm, or she described it as acting calm.
The pig was completely faking it. You could see it was a wreck under all of that.
So then this is how the article comes to its full conclusion. She was ready to go in the morning, the woman said, adding she received word that a group of people had killed the pig and attempted to drag away the body later Thursday night. What a sad ending, she said. The end.
I shouldn't be laughing, but what?
Yes! Worst fairy tale ever. This pig was captured again, ready to go in the morning, and then a group of people killed the pig and attempted to drag away the body. Now, that leaves me with questions. Attempted to drag it away? So did this woman wake up the next morning going, yep, they're going to come get the pig? What? And like, how far is the attempt? Who saw this 400 and 450 pound pig and was like, hey, should we walk it to where we want it to go? No, kill it here and drag it.
Yeah, and how do they know that a group of people killed it? I mean, they must have seen a group of people, so they couldn't have stopped them?
Right. None of this story makes sense, and that's the end. Nothing more about pigs. That's it. Well, what happened to that pig? Oh, a group of people killed it. Tried to drag it away, and they didn't get far.
Would make me feel better if that story had ended with, this was just one among many creatures that were killed in Midland this week.
Yes! Full circle. But yeah, there was one more article about pigs in the Midland area, and the article itself just goes on to talk about there's a lot of wild pigs in the area. If you see them, they've lifted some hunting restrictions because they're kind of becoming a nuisance, so it's okay to kill them without really having a permit or anything. The article's title is Officials, if you see wild swine, shoot them. It's the shoot part that gets me.
Apostrophe EM.
Yeah, it's not shoot them. It's shoot them. It's like the way like the backwoods sheriff talks to his deputies in some kind of movie about the Old South. You see those boys coming around here, shoot them. That's how I picture this. Shoot them. Shoot those pigs. Shoot them up good.
So apparently whoever wrote that in for the paper wanted to get the quote just right. Like, shoot them? No, shoot them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know how to preface this, so I'm just going to dive right on in with the headline. Beaver butts emit goo used in vanilla-flavored foods.
This sounds like it was written by a small child.
Next time you pick up vanilla candy, think twice. A chemical compound used in vanilla-flavored foods and scents comes from the butt of a beaver.
Wow.
Castoreum comes from a beaver's castor sacs located between the pelvis and base of the tail. Due to its proximity to the anal glands, the slimy brown substance is often mixed with gland secretions and urine. You lift up the animal's tail,
and you got vanilla.
So, this is Joanne Crawford, a wildlife ecologist. You lift up the animal's tail, and I'm like, get down there and stick your nose near its bum. People think I'm nuts. But I tell them, oh, but it's beavers. It smells really good. Manufacturers have been using castoreum as an additive in foods and perfumes for at least 80 years.
Wow.
But getting a beaver to admit castoreum is not easy.
You got to seduce him, I guess.
I was going to say, you got to buy it dinner first. Foodies are willing to milk the animals in order to get their hands on the gooey substance. You can milk the anal glands so you can extract the fluid, Crawford said. You can squirt it out. It's pretty gross. Okay, Matt.
I'll never eat vanilla again.
Here's the thing, Matt. The only way I'm going to milk the anal glands of a beaver is if the elixir of life comes out of it, right? The fountain of youth better spray out of a beaver's butt before I even get close to it.
Wow.
My biggest question, though, Matt, is how did this all start?
Yeah, who is playing around with a beaver's anus and just was like, vanilla!
Exactly. Let's walk through this, right? Somebody had to have caught a beaver, first of all. Then they had to have sniffed its butt. And then if that wasn't enough, they had to have tasted it. Right? Isn't that the logical progression here?
And then been like, I got to get some financial backing on this. This is big business.
And then they had to think for a moment, how do I get this out of its butt?
How do I entertain the beaver while I'm doing this? Because you would think the beaver would get kind of antsy after a while and be like, I got stuff to do.
This article ends with, when reached for a comment, a beaver said, damn. Well, this has been a pretty insane little episode here tonight.
Well, go have some chocolate, not any vanilla tonight, I guess.
I know. Keep that in mind next time you go to the ice cream shop.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to all you folks out there in listener land, listen to us on Podbean, like us on Facebook.
Tell your friends about us. Tell your enemies about us.
Yes, but don't tell our enemies.
No, because they're horrible.
That guy with the axe.
We're that one beaver proctologist.
That guy's weird.
Yeah, I don't like him.
His dinner conversation is really out there. So for everything, anything, and nothing really, I'm Eric.
I'm Matt.
And we'll see you next time.
Tell me why I had to go. Why don't you tell me why it just ain't so? Why don't you tell me why it hurts so bad? Why don't you tell me why you're not sad?
Hey, Matt, can you hold this beaver for me?
I'll entertain him while you hold him.